Welcome to another deep dive. This week we are going to be looking at some really interesting AI developments.
Yeah, lots to talk about this week.
Yeah, and we've got a whole stack of
A
articles.
big stack.
We are going to look at what all this stuff means for business.
For sure, because it's not science fiction anymore.
Right. AI is here.
It's happening right now.
It is impacting business right now.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people are kind of realizing that now.
Yeah, and we're going to see how some companies are really getting ahead.
And some are falling behind.
Yeah, and we'll see what that means.
Some big implications this week.
Yeah, big time. I mean, like when we saw a kid forming a real emotional bond with an AI voice assistant,
Yeah, that was a crazy start.
like what does that even mean for the future of customer interaction?
Yeah, exactly. Is this the world we want to live in?
Right. I mean, it's kind of heartwarming, but also kind of creepy.
Yeah, for sure.
You got OpenAI making some big moves.
Yeah, they're really going all in on AI agents.
Yeah, but they're pricing them super high
Yeah, like $2,000 a month
to $20,000 a month.
per month. Yeah, so it's a big gamble.
Yeah, it is. Our business is actually going to pay that much,
Yeah, that's the big question.
or is this like a total misstep?
Yeah, we'll see.
I mean, they're betting big on this being the future of work
Yeah, that knowledge workers are going to need these tools.
and be willing to pay for them.
Right, exactly.
Will they? I mean, it's a big bet.
It is.
And then you've got Google.
Oh, yeah, Google's doing a lot,
They're rolling out all these AI-powered upgrades to search.
which is interesting because they've been kind of quiet on the AI front lately.
Yeah, and now they're like, bam,
Here we are.
here's AI everywhere.
Yeah, and it's going to change how we find information.
And how businesses market themselves.
Absolutely.
So how can you leverage these upgrades?
Yeah, that's what we're going to be talking about today.
That's what we're here to find out, Ray. How
Yeah.
do we actually use all this stuff?
Yeah, this isn't just theoretical. This is practical stuff.
Right, rubber meets the road time. So let's kick things off with this whole idea of AI getting smarter.
Okay, yeah, let's do it.
I mean, it seems like every week there's some new breakthrough,
Right.
and this week is no exception.
Yeah, OpenAI's GPT 4.5 is a big one.
Yeah, everyone is talking about this.
Yeah. I mean, it's moving away from just like data crunching.
Right.
It's more about reasoning and complex tasks now.
Okay, so what's driving this shift? Like, why is AI suddenly getting so much more sophisticated?
Well, I think it's a few things. First, you've got the advances in hardware.
Right, the chips are getting faster,
Much faster.
more powerful.
And then you've got these massive data sets that are now available to train these models.
So they're learning from more data than ever before.
Exactly. And then you've got the algorithms themselves, which are getting more sophisticated.
So it's kind of like all these things come together at the right time.
Yeah, it's like a perfect storm for AI development.
Interesting. So what does this actually mean for businesses? Like, how can they take advantage of this smarter AI?
Well, there are a lot of potential benefits.
Okay, like what? Give us some examples.
Okay, well, imagine having an AI that can help you strategize
Oh, wow.
or brainstorm new ideas
Yeah.
or even write complex code.
Like a super-powered assistant.
Exactly.
That sounds amazing, but also a little bit scary.
Yeah, there are definitely some potential pitfalls, too.
Like what?
Well, I mean, we're talking about AI that can make decisions.
Right.
And those decisions could have real-world consequences.
There's a big responsibility that comes with this.
Yeah, and we need to make sure that these AI systems are aligned with our values.
And that they're not going to do something that we don't want them to do.
Exactly.
Right? Like we don't want some rogue AI taking over the world.
Well, that's the Hollywood version.
Yeah. But still, it's something to think about, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So it's this balance between the incredible potential and the potential risks.
Exactly. And we need to be very careful as we move forward.
Okay, so we've got OpenAI pushing the limits of what AI can do.
Yeah.
But then we also have companies like Apple who are struggling to integrate AI into their products.
Yeah, Apple just delayed their Siri revamp again,
Yeah, to 2027.
which is a pretty big setback.
Yeah. I mean, what does that tell us about the state of AI integration?
Well, I think it shows just how complex it is. It's
Yeah.
not just about the technology itself.
Right,
It's
right.
about seamlessly weaving it into the user experience.
Which is easier said than done.
Yeah, and Apple is known for its high standards.
So they're probably not going to release something until it's perfect.
Yeah, they want to make sure that it's truly intuitive and user-friendly.
And that it actually enhances the user experience.
Exactly.
But it's still a pretty big delay.
Yeah, it is.
And it makes you wonder if other companies are going to face similar challenges.
I think it's likely.
Yeah, I mean, AI integration is tough.
It is.
It's not just plug and play.
No, it requires a lot of thought and careful planning.
So we've got OpenAI on one end of the spectrum, pushing the limits of what AI can do. And then we have companies like Apple on the other end.
Struggling with the integration.
Yeah, so it's kind of this weird mix of rapid advancement and frustrating limitations.
Yeah, it is.
But even with the limitations, the progress is undeniable.
Absolutely. And one area that's really exciting is emotional intelligence.
Oh, yeah. This is mind-blowing.
AI that can actually respond with genuine emotion.
Yeah, the story about Sesame launching their new voice assistant was wild.
It was, I mean, imagine a chatbot that can sense when you're frustrated.
And adjust its tone accordingly.
Exactly.
That's next level.
It is, and it could totally revolutionize customer service.
Yeah, because we've all had those frustrating experiences with chatbots.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Where you're like talking to a brick wall.
Right.
But if the chatbot could actually understand your emotions.
And respond in a way that's empathetic.
Yeah.
That could make a huge difference.
Right, it could build trust and loyalty.
Absolutely.
But isn't there a risk of AI mimicking human emotions in a way that feels creepy or manipulative?
Yeah, that's a valid concern. Like, how do we know that the AI is actually being genuine
Right.
and not just pretending to care?
Well, I think transparency is key.
Okay, so users need to know that they're interacting with a machine.
Right, and they need to understand the AI's capabilities and limitations.
So no more pretending that the chatbot is a real person.
Exactly.
That's good, because that always freaks me out.
Yeah, me too.
It's like the uncanny valley effect.
Right, you get too close to human and it becomes creepy.
Yeah, exactly. And this whole idea of emotional AI, it really makes you think about the ethical boundaries of this technology.
It does.
Like, where do we draw the line?
Yeah.
I mean, we talked about the kid who formed a strong bond with Sesame's AI assistant.
Right.
On one hand, it's heartwarming, but on the other, it raises questions about emotional dependence.
Yeah, and the potential for manipulation.
Like, what happens if the AI starts giving bad advice?
Or if it encourages the child to do something harmful.
Right. These are things we need to be thinking about.
So we've got AI getting more intelligent and more emotionally aware.
Yeah.
But what about accessibility? Like, who gets to benefit from these advancements?
That's a great question. And this week's news shows that there's a real divide emerging.
Okay, in what way?
Well, on one hand, you've got companies like Samsung who are bringing AI features to their budget smartphones.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it means that more people can access this technology.
And that's great for small businesses and individuals who might not have the resources for high-end solutions.
Exactly.
But then on the other end of the spectrum, you have OpenAI with their premium-priced AI agents.
Yeah, they're targeting a very specific market.
Like businesses with deep pockets.
Right, and it raises questions about who gets left behind.
Yeah, I mean, is this going to create an AI elite?
It's possible.
So it's this tension between making AI more powerful and more accessible.
Yeah, and finding that balance is going to be crucial.
Okay, so we've got smarter AI, we've got emotional AI.
Yep.
And we've got this question of accessibility. What else is on the agenda for today?
Well, let's talk about AI for good.
Okay, I like that.
Because it's not all doom and gloom.
No, it's not. AI has the potential to do a lot of good in the world.
It does, and Google just announced 3 major AI initiatives focused on environmental conservation.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, they're using AI to identify endangered species.
Oh, wow.
They're supporting startups that are working on biodiversity loss.
That's amazing.
And they're even funding research into regenerative agriculture.
So they're really putting their money where their mouth is.
Yeah, they are.
And using AI to tackle some of the biggest challenges facing our planet.
Exactly.
That's really inspiring.
It is. It shows that AI can be a force for good.
But of course, we can't ignore the potential risks either.
Right. We saw some pretty dire warnings from leading tech experts this week.
Yeah, about the dangers of accelerated AI development.
They even introduced this concept of mutual assured AI malfunction.
Which sounds terrifying.
It basically means that if we're not careful, an AI arms race could lead to unintended consequences.
Like what?
Well, potentially even global instability.
Okay, that's not good.
No, it's not. So it's this balance, right?
Yeah, between the potential for good and the potential for harm.
Exactly. And we need to be very mindful of that as we move forward.
So we've got AI being used to protect our planet.
Right.
And we've got concerns about it potentially contributing to global instability.
Yeah, it's a lot to think about.
It's a lot to unpack.
But it's important that we have these conversations. Now, while AI is still relatively in its infancy.
Okay, so let's shift gears a little bit and talk about AI's impact on the workplace.
Okay, yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah, because this is something that everyone is talking about.
It is. It's on everyone's mind.
Right, are robots going to take our jobs?
Yeah, that's the big question.
But it's more nuanced than that, right?
It is. It's not just about robots replacing humans.
Right. It's about AI changing the nature of work.
Exactly.
Experts at Northwestern University were discussing this week.
Yeah, they were talking about AI as a general purpose technology.
Okay, like electricity.
Yeah, exactly. It's something that's going to touch every aspect of our lives.
And transform how we work.
Absolutely.
So can you give us some concrete examples of how this is playing out?
Sure, we'll take Microsoft's new healthcare AI assistant.
Boy.
This tool can streamline tasks like clinical documentation and referral letters.
So it's freeing up doctors to spend more time with patients.
Exactly.
That's great.
It's a good example of how AI can augment human capabilities.
But it also raises questions about job displacement.
Right. It does. Some people are worried that AI will take away jobs.
But others argue that it will create new jobs.
Right. And I think both are probably true.
So it's not a simple answer.
No, it's not.
It's going to be a complex transition.
And it's going to require a lot of adaptation.
Okay, well, this has been a fascinating conversation so far.
Yeah, it has.
But we've only just scratched the surface.
We've got a lot more to cover.
Yeah, so stay with us.
We'll be right back after a quick break.
To dive even deeper into the world of AI.
And what it means for your business.
See you in a few.
So, it's really interesting to see how all these individual stories kind of fit into these broader trends.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, there are definitely some clear themes emerging this week.
Okay, let's talk about that. What are you seeing?
Well, one that really jumps out is this race towards increasingly sophisticated AI.
Okay.
You see it in OpenAI's GPT 4.5, obviously,
Right.
but also in Google's revamped search engine,
Yeah.
even Alibaba's entry into the market. I mean, everyone is vying for the most powerful, the most capable AI.
It's like a technological arms race, but instead of weapons, they're competing on intelligence.
Exactly. And it raises some really interesting questions about the future direction of AI development.
Yeah, like what kind of questions?
Well, for example, will this lead to a concentration of power in the hands of just a few tech giants?
That's a good question.
Or will we see a more diverse AI landscape with solutions that are tailored to specific needs and industries?
That would be interesting.
Yeah. As this race unfolds, there's also this question of access.
Right, we talked about that earlier.
Yeah, you've got companies like Samsung democratizing AI.
By making it more affordable.
Exactly, putting it into budget-friendly devices.
But then you have OpenAI with their premium-priced agents
Yeah.
that are clearly aimed at a much more exclusive market.
Right, so it's this delicate balance.
Yeah, between making AI more powerful and more equitable.
Right, on the one hand, wider access to AI tools has the potential to level the playing field.
Yeah, and empower individuals and smaller businesses.
Exactly. But the development of highly specialized, expensive AI solutions.
Could create a new kind of digital divide.
Yeah, that's the risk.
So it's almost like we're at a crossroads, right?
It feels that way.
Like we have to choose between making AI more powerful or more equitable.
Maybe it doesn't have to be an either-or situation.
Okay, I like that.
There's probably room for both specialized and widely accessible AI solutions.
I think you're right.
The key, I think, is to be mindful of the potential consequences. Yeah.
And to ensure that AI development is guided by ethical considerations and a focus on inclusivity.
Couldn't agree more. And speaking of ethical considerations.
Yes, this brings us to another major theme this week.
Okay, which is?
The balance between innovation and responsibility.
Right, those warnings from tech experts about a potential mutual assured AI malfunction.
Yeah.
That was a pretty sobering reminder.
It was. It really drove home the potential risks of unchecked AI development.
Yeah, for sure.
So, we can't let the excitement over AI's potential blind us to the potential downsides.
Right, we need to be talking about this stuff.
We do. We need to have open and honest conversations about the ethical implications of AI.
And establish some clear guidelines.
For responsible development and deployment.
Exactly, and it's not just about preventing these catastrophic scenarios like the mutual assured AI malfunction.
It's also about addressing those everyday ethical challenges that AI presents.
Oh yeah, like what kind of challenges are you talking about? Well, for example, how do we ensure that AI systems are fair and unbiased?
That's a good one.
How do we protect user privacy? These are questions that businesses and individuals need to be grappling with right now.
Yeah, like today.
Exactly, because these issues are already here.
And they're not going away.
Not at all. In fact,
Yeah.
they're only going to become more complex as AI continues to evolve.
So we've got this race for smarter AI.
Yes.
We've got this tension between accessibility and exclusivity.
Right.
We need to balance innovation with responsibility.
Absolutely.
And then we've got this evolving legal landscape.
All of this happening at the same time.
Yeah, it's a lot. It can feel overwhelming.
I think that's a fair statement. It is a lot to take in.
But I mean, amidst all this complexity,
Yeah.
do you still feel optimistic about the future of AI?
I do. I really do. Because I think AI has this incredible potential
Yeah.
to solve some of the world's most pressing problems.
Like climate change.
Yeah, exactly. Climate change, healthcare, you name it.
So the challenge is to harness that potential.
Responsibly and equitably.
And that's where resources like the Razor Report come in.
Absolutely. The Razor Report provides in-depth analysis and insights.
On the latest AI developments.
Exactly. Helping businesses and individuals understand what's happening and what it all means.
And speaking of understanding what it all means, let's zoom in on some of the specific implications of this week's AI news for businesses.
Yeah.
All right, so we've covered a ton of ground today. Everything from the race for smarter AI to the ethical dilemmas, the legal battles that are really shaping the landscape. So let's kind of bring it all back to our listeners and what are the key takeaways for businesses who are trying to figure out how to navigate this whole AI revolution?
Yeah, I think one of the most important takeaways is that AI is not just a nice to have anymore. It's becoming like a core component of business success.
So it's not just about understanding AI, it's about actually using it
Yeah, exactly.
to solve problems, create efficiencies, and gain a competitive edge.
Exactly. And the good news is the barrier to entry for AI is lower than ever. There's a wide range of tools and solutions available, like open source platforms, cloud-based services.
So it's getting easier.
Yeah, much easier for businesses of all sizes to at least start experimenting with AI.
Okay, but with so many options available,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, where do businesses even begin?
Yeah, I mean, a good starting point is to identify the specific challenges that your business is facing that AI could potentially solve.
So take a step back.
Yeah, like what are you struggling with?
Okay.
Is it data analysis, customer service bottlenecks, inefficient workflows? Like once you've identified those problems, then you can start exploring those AI solutions that are best suited to address them.
So it's about being strategic
Absolutely.
and focusing on the areas where AI can have the biggest impact.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to start small. You don't need to implement a company-wide AI overhaul overnight.
Right?
Experiment with different tools, see what works, and then scale up gradually.
So be agile and adapt as the AI landscape evolves.
Exactly, because this is a rapidly changing field.
Yeah, no kidding.
But as you're exploring these different possibilities, don't forget about the ethical considerations we talked about earlier.
Right, like fairness, transparency, privacy.
Exactly. Make sure that your AI implementations are responsible.
And for the benefit of society as a whole,
That's the key.
it's not just about profits.
Right. It's about using AI for good.
And speaking of staying informed and up to date on all things AI,
Yes, the Razor Report newsletter.
you can find it at razor.co.
We'll also include links to all the articles we discussed today in the show notes.
Perfect. So as we wrap up this week's deep dive into the world of AI,
It's been quite a journey.
yeah, it has. I mean, from mind-blowing advancements to ethical dilemmas, legal battles, and the potential to really reshape our world, it's clear that AI is no longer a futuristic fantasy.
No, it's here.
It's here, and it's changing everything.
And the pace of change is only going to accelerate.
So what's crucial for businesses and individuals?
Is to stay informed, engage in these conversations, and make sure that AI development is guided by ethical principles.
And a focus on the common good.
Absolutely.
Well said. Thank you for joining us on this week's Deep Dive.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time, stay curious and stay ahead of the curve.